Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. That's a 2019 Kia, something other than a Chevrolet. 2.4 liter, the big one. And the money light's on. The lady says she gave her gas cap a polish. The light went out for a little bit, but it's back on. Let's have a look. Let's see what we have here. She's all scanned up. Ignition voltage low, airbag. Here's one we're after, the classic P0456 EVAP system, leakage detected, very small leak. Wow, that sounds fun. And that's all it's here for, so that's what we're looking at. So let's pop in there. I do a lot of older Hyundai Kias that come in that have a tendency to crack around the top of the gas tank or around the top of the fuel pump. You know, we've all seen that. 2019, I wouldn't really expect that, so I don't really know what to expect here. We're gonna pop in some scan data here. I believe these are a pretty standard purge and vent valve type system. I don't know what to call that for lack of a better term. Let's just see. Okay, canister close valve option is off. Let's see if we have a fuel tank pressure sensor. I assume we do, and we do. Oh gosh, is it really at 100%? So she might have the tank full. So we have fuel tank pressure, and then we want to see, we should have a data PID for purge. And we do. Interesting, it's at 0.2%. And we should have, no, I think what they call the canister closed, right? Yes, okay. So we have your typical stuff. We have our canister vent valve, we have our purge valve, and we have our fuel tank pressure sensor, okay? Let's see if we have an active test. Okay, so we have one for the purge valve, canister close valve, clocked, OBD2 only. Let's see. All right, so that looks like our options here. Purge. I don't know what the difference is going to be here. We just want to be able to turn it off. Okay, I heard it click. Just make sure it doesn't cycle. Sometimes, you know, Hyundai Kia doesn't leave things turned off. Okay, so we can hear it back there thumping away, so that's good. I don't hear it kicking back off, so great. Sucky part is, you know, we can't see data here, which kind of sucks. That would be more helpful. Let's see here, EVAP leakage test. I think that's generally gross leak action. 1585, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so nothing we're really concerned about there. I'm assuming it's going to fail that test regardless. So, okay, yeehaw, we know what we can do. Let's get after it. Okay, let's find some components here. I don't see any. We need to find out where the purge valve lives because we need to hook up the Avoca Smoka. Looks like the purge's down here. Whoops, let me get a flashlight. The first thing you do though is check for any service bulletins put out by the dealer. This mouse loves peanuts, whole peanuts. Lots of peanut shells around here. And that goes down there towards the intake, so this must be the purge. And that goes around town and heads down. Okay, downtown Brown. Let's hook up to that. I believe the easiest thing to do is going to be get a pair of needle nose. It looks like it possibly has a check valve. What we'll do is we'll see if we can't just unhook the hose from it without taking all the air box and stuff off here. Come on, little guy. Okay, there we go. We got the clamp moved back. I've got you where you can't see anything, so I don't want to spoil you by giving you good photography. Or videography, I don't know what you call it. So here we are. There's my hose. We'll grab the Avoca smoker. It's the Icon. It's the Harbor Freight. They gave it to me for free, and I'm obligated to tell you that. By the laws set in place by the Federal Trade Commission and the People's Republic of New York, let it be known that I didn't pay a dime for this thing. Doesn't mean I have to tell you that it's a great product or anything like that. However, I am required to let you know that it was given freely. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we're gonna take and hook this bad boy up to the battery. We're gonna get an air hose. We're gonna hook the Schmoka up here. We're gonna close off the vent valve. Remember, we're gonna pressurize the system while monitoring the flow gauge on the front of the Icon smoke machine. And if our flow gauge is up here floating, by golly, we know we have a leak, and then we'll go on the hunt for the leak. Hooked up here. She's a smoking. Can't really see it very well on the camera, probably. Can't really see it very well in real life. We have that hooked up there. I'll show you the flow gauge here. So here's where our flow gauge looks like, little floaty ball. Why'd she quit floating? What's happening here, Rocco? Did we run out of air supply? Did I turn the regulator down too much? Sneak by this little guy. I probably did. I got a little cranky happy over here. Oh, I did. That's why we got no smoke. There we go. Got that 20 psi. The smoke machine's regulated anyways, but I try not to put 180 psi to it. Alright, there we go. Here's our flow gauge. That's what I was trying to show you. Alright, so she's flowing maximum. We're going to shut the valve off. We should have smoke coming out somewhere near the rear. We just shut the canister vent valve off, and we should watch our flow gauge start to reduce in its rate of flow. Yeah, you can see it's already starting to come down. Now, in a perfect world, it'll right to the bottom and sit on the bottom, but we're flagging a code for a leak. I'm assuming we actually have a leak. Let's take a gander on the inside here and see what this lady's fuel tank level is. And unlike 98% of the customers that drop cars off, the tank is full. That usually only happens if they need a new fuel pump. Okay, I've filled it up for you. If it has any type of drivability concern, you can guarantee it's on E. So we'll give this a little bit. That's our rate of flow right there. I'll give it a few minutes and then we'll go on the hunt for the leak. A minute has passed. The flow gauge is right down to 0. Let's take and shut her down. I'm going to stop the flow. I'll have to check with her, see if this light's been coming on and off, because whatever was leaking is not leaking now. So we'll give it a minute here to hold pressure on the system, and then we'll crack this back open and see if the ball pops up. It's likely just whatever deal it was with her gas cap there, I'm assuming. Pops right back up. Just barely, briefly. Alright, no problems found. Park it. The show's not over yet, folks. Give it some time. I unhooked the electric portion here, but check this out. We got a floater. So she'll come back up. It purges out some air there somewheres in the back. And then all of a sudden, no more leaky leak, and it will go back down to 0, and it'll sit there for a certain period of time after it gets done doing its little deal here. And you guys experience what I'm experiencing. So then it goes back down and gives us the idea that there is no leak. And then the cycle carries on. I assume it's, you know, something going on here because the tank is so full, whatever's happening here. I don't know how much time interval goes in between each one, but even though the cable's disconnected here, this still has air pressure going through it. Okay, so there it goes again. And it just continues on this cycle, okay? So interesting, right? So there's air leaking out of something in the EVAP system. I looked at her gas cap. I went and opened that up. It's clean as a whip. The top of the cap looks, or the top of the filler neck looks like brand new. Not knowing if it's the cap and not really having any way to test it, I did what any man would do. I went and took the one off my wife's van because she drives the same year, same make, and put it on there and have the same exact problems. Now I know her van doesn't have the money light on, so I know her cap is good, and you know, not to mention it did the same exact thing. This is going to be a difficult one to find. The smoke is going to be useless unless you have, like, you know, a hose falling off. The smoke machine is useless. Not just the icon, but the smoke machine in general is a pretty useless tool as far as looking for smoke, unless you have a massive leak. Okay, in which case it shows up easy. Small leaks, you know, stuff under 20 thousandths, you're not going to find it with a smoke machine. You'll find it because it'll leave an oil residue behind, but as far as seeing the smoke and like going right to the area, pretty unlikely. I fix a tremendous amount of EVAP systems, so you're gonna have to trust me on that. I know people will argue that, but it's a good tool in the sense that we can regulate the amount of pressure going into the system. But as far as, you know, this huge visible, here's the smoke, that's only for big leaks, big leaks. Wow, little grasshopper. Okay, looks like a mouse has been hungry under here. Let's get the car up in the air and see if we can't isolate portions of the system to see perhaps where it could be leaking. And naturally, typical modern day garbage, everything is covered with fuzzy cardboard, so you can't see nothing. We have a canister. I'm using my big nose right now. Oh, I might hear it actually. I think I hear it. I think I hear a whoosh. Well, I'm pretty sure. My hearing sucks. Let me set you folks down. I might hear this leak actually. I don't smell it. Usually my big nose picks up on these things. But I definitely think I'm hearing a whoosh. I'm definitely hearing a whoosh. Barely, but albeit a whoosh. Let's go get the chassis ears. If you use them without the probe on it, oftentimes you can pick up a wind leak. So if you just use it with this, I look like a DJ. Welcome back to KSMA, Avoca's very own rock station, and our sister station, WRST, The Rust. All right. Back to reality. If you take the probe out and you blow on this, usually it'll be like blast out your eardrums. Providing the battery isn't dead, which it usually is. Oh, it's not. Let me stick this up on your ears for you. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. Oh, I think we found it, boys. Oh, we got a blower. I thought I could hear that right around there. There's a clamp on this filler neck. We're gonna go need the soapy water to find this one. Oh, we're getting a bubble. Boop. Let's see, can we enhance? I'm gonna have to move you. tiny bubble. We got a bubbler. I can't get the juice to stick there, but obviously, well, that's gonna be a big one. Oh, it's gaining. That's a nice one, not gonna lie. It's one of the better ones I've done. Oh, wow. How big's that thing gonna get? Oh, that was it. That's all she wrote. Well, she might go up there to form another one. Yeah, it must be up under that clamp somewhere. We're definitely, this is the connector for the vent valve, which is up there on top of the filler neck. Hopefully you guys can see that bubble forming. Good bubble show. It doesn't matter, we're not taking the clamp off, we're not doing any of that, because right now the vehicle is drivable and she can put gas in it. You start meddling with things you ought not be meddling in, and now the lady's hoofing it. We're going to quote her on the filler neck. So this is the filler neck assembly. It's going to come with all these clamps and all this stuff on it. Doesn't look like it's going to be a real monster. The clamps are easy to get to here. Kind of disappointing. It looks like it has a good coating of black stuff on it, and then right where that clamp is, yeah, because the top of the filler neck looks fantastic. Everything looks good except this little spot where the clamp is. I like to just keep wasting stuff and spraying on it. What am I spraying on it? Well, this is stuff called Big Blue. Sub-Zero. It's used by HVAC techs. And it's basically spray bubble stuff. And it's really viscous. It's a high surface tension, I believe you would call it. I'm not real sure. Joe Pastoroli. He's the guy who made it. He's the CEO and founder, it says. But that's an easy one. Glad we didn't walk away right in the beginning, I'll tell you that. So that's it, folks. We're gonna give this lady a quote on a new filler neck. And if I get the job, which I assume I will, this is a nice lady. Love this lady, super nice lady. Very positive, makes you feel great when you talk to her. You know what I mean? One of those people is just very uplifting. So we're gonna quote her on that. We'll get that ordered, tear it apart. We're just gonna find rust under the clamp, you know, typical New York shenanigans. And hopefully you guys learned a little something. You know, when you see your flow gauge on a smoke machine hit the bottom, don't just walk away. And like in our case, you know, we shut it off, turn it back on, get a little tiny float out of it, but just let it sit there for a little bit, see what happens. And in this case, you know, we ran into like that 30-second rhythmic cycle that it was doing for whatever reason. It's just, you know, it has to wait for enough pressure to escape out the hole, and then flow gauge goes back up, goes back down, you know, so on and so forth. So that's easy enough to do, and it can save you a lot of comebacks, or, you know, a lot of issues. What would I have done next if we didn't see that there? Well, my next move is going to be to check the purge valve. Does the purge valve leak? Without knowing the theory and operation on this EVAP system, I don't know if it has any natural vacuum leak detection algorithm programmed into it. You know, when does it run the very small EVAP leak? Oftentimes these cars will run it after the car is turned off. It'll use, you know, natural vacuum leak detection, where it'll close the canister and it will monitor it over time, and depending on temperatures and you know, fuel tank temperature and this, that, and the other thing, yada yada yada, it'll check for an increase or see if the system can go into a natural vacuum or natural pressure. I'm just speculating because we didn't look up anything in service data. So everything I'm saying is just a bunch of made up crap. However, that's how some manufacturers do it. Therefore, part of my process would be checking, does the purge valve leak? And that can happen. And we've seen that, we've done videos on it, and they can leak and not set a code for, you know, purge during a non-purge flow event. You know, stuff like that. That may not be programmed into it. It's hard to say, or it may not meet the parameter, but still leaks enough, you know, to create an issue. So there's that. And then at that point, if I didn't see a leak, knowing that our light's been coming on and off, I'd say, lady, bring it back when you got about a quarter of a tank, and let's check it again when the system's a little bit lower. Sometimes that's helpful. Okay? That's the only advice I can give you. The other advice I can give you, besides don't pee into the wind, is you can use your Steelman chassis ear, not a sponsor, to find air leaks like this. And I am more successful with that than I am with, you know, trying to see the smoke. And I'm not throwing shade at Icon because I ain't got no static with them. And, you know, I'm not throwing shade at OTC, the original OG maker of the Avoca smoker. But the fact of the matter is when the leaks are so tiny, looking for the smoke is kind of irrelevant. It just doesn't work. Oftentimes it'll leave the oily trace behind, and sometimes you have a UV dyed oil, in which case you can go along with your black light and it shows up, sticks out like a turd in a punch bowl, as they say. But I've had better luck listening for the leak, because you can often hear it whistling, even with bad ears, and then just take your Steelman. And when you come across it, you know, it's like blowing into a microphone. It'll blast you right in the ears. You're like, bam, boom, there it is. Get out the soapy water, hose her down, look for the bubbles, and move on with your life. That's the only advice I can give you guys. In the comment box, why don't you give me some advice? Look for us on the Insta, on the Facebook. And now we're having some kind of problem on the Facebook because everybody's stealing everything, all this AI bullshit, shenanigans. So we're all over Facebook. None of it's my crap, though. If you know where we're at, use the link here on this, on the whatever it is, whatever platform this is. Follow the links. Do it. Don't do it. I don't care. Either way. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.